Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's masterclass there, where I wanted to it's actually really going to be an open discussion. So it's kind of like a how do you say it, a free flow open discussion about some of the premises that are foundational to the first phase of the Adjust Your Mind framework. And I invited Visma, and I'm so happy Marielle is here. And I'm happy everybody is here, but because they're both chiropractors and they work with a lot of the premises, a lot of the premises that are foundational to this work are also actually foundational to our chiropractic profession. So hopefully they can contribute to this conversation. So I'm just going to share. One moment. Here we go. All right. Okay, so the framework it's really I would say it's a neurosomatic approach to human development. Now, what I mean with that, it's really supporting the natural growth that we are embarking on as a human, I guess, like individually, but also collectively. Um, and yeah, like what I notice is that, human development happens quite naturally when you are young. Like, as a baby, you're born and it seems to all kind of happen quite naturally. You sit, you start to crawl, and then you walk. And then, I mean, the only thing you have to do is really put some food in, and it seems to just happen automatically, right? I mean, it's not as simple as that, but it's not like, it just kind of, it happens. And then, of course, we enter our teenage years or maybe our 20s, and then growth and development and new learning doesn't seem to just be so obvious and so natural and so easy, actually. And this is what what we want to support with this framework. We want to support natural growth, the growth of us humans, that we are able to grow and develop and are able to learn new things and really contribute to the growth of us as a human species, right? Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel we're definitely not there yet, right? If you look at the state of our world at the moment, and it's like, yeah, it's like we've done we've come a long way, but we're definitely not there yet. So there's still a lot of work to do, right? And that's, of course, the passion I have for myself, but also to share with others, is that we are, because I love life, and I have this great love for life and for people. And I believe that yeah, human development and growth is really necessary. And yeah, so that's why we do this work. Okay, so just do a little recap about the premises. And really, the premises that we're going to look at today is they support the first phase of this framework, the aware phase. And then there is adjust and actualize as well. So in the aware phase, we really just becoming self-aware about our dysfunctional habits and our purpose. And sometimes I call it our smallness and our greatness. And the adjust phase is all about self-regulating. So learning tools to regulate your nervous system and rewiring. So making like new neural circuits and neural pathways that are more aligned with our purpose, and really supporting growth as a human being and development. And then actualize is really all about embodying it. So not just being it, but really doing it as well, which actually from experience, like I find that a really challenging phase actually. Like I often, I like to think about things and it kind of all happens in here and then I notice it and maybe I notice it with others and myself, but then actually doing it and living it and acting on it, I find quite challenging. So that's the third phase. But for now, we're just going to, oh, and this is a little visual representation of the three phases where you see self-awareness and self-regulation as being the center and foundation of the of the framework. And ultimately, of course, we want to increase choice. So we really want to sit in that driver's seat of our lives. So we want to be the predominant creative force in our lives, increasing choice, and awareness brings choice. So it's ABC. And of course, inner power, it's often the word power doesn't have such a positive connotation, but there is something really, like in being feeling empowered and really connecting with that inner power where you do feel like where you really feel like how it works and how you can create in alignment with natural principles and not working against them, and where you feel you can really contribute to a better world, and where you can share your gifts and your talents in this world, where that is just feeling so empowering. And ultimately, of course, we want inner freedom as well, where you really feel you're not a victim of circumstances, you're not lived by others, giving your power away to others, but really experience that inner freedom that we already are, of course, but we don't live like that often. So yeah, I'd just like to invite everybody, and I'll frame it a little bit, and then we can just all share. So a few of the premises that are foundational to this first phase is that our nervous system creates your reality. So the state that you're in, the state of your nervous system determines how you perceive life, really, because if you think of it, like everything you see, everything you hear, everything you feel travels through nervous system, how do you say it, pathways, circuits, right? So like, for example, whatever you see is like information that is then going into your brain, and it's kind of interpreted by your brain, and then you make it mean something, right? So if your brain is wired in a certain way, like if those neural circuits that you use a lot, then that information keeps kind of traveling over those same pathways. And that means that you're also going to create the same reality, right? So this is something that um, is very foundational, and I call them survive and thrive pathways. And what it means is really that there's pathways that are in support of survival, and there's also parts of our brain that are in support of growth and development, because that's ultimately what we want. Is we want to learn new things, we want to experience new things, because then we're creating new neural pathways, and then we can grow and develop as a human being, and also as collectively we can learn, right? And what I've known, of course, being a chiropractor, is that being in that state of survival, like our brains and our nervous systems are really not designed for that. So being chronically in a state of survival, now I would say that probably most of us are, it actually, you do the opposite of growing. You stay still, you stay stuck, and there is actually probably even just a going backwards, like an entropy is like a term I use sometimes, where it's a natural decay, the natural going backwards of everything. It's like, you know, it kicks in, and yeah, it is, it's not really what we want, because our heart is always longing for something more and growing, but then we're not. So you really create this torque in your nervous system. And as a chiropractor, and of course I can probably, Marielle and Visma probably agree that you can really see it. It's like one part of you walks one way and the other part walks the other way, and you create this kind of enormous amount of stress in your nervous system, right? So maybe we can just open up the floor for shares, for what's landing, anything that's, you know, what is it that you that's landing for you here. And I'll just stop sharing, because maybe I think we've probably, and then yeah, I'll just show, then I see you a little bit bigger.
That's something I maybe like to add, or maybe about also sharing, that what I recently see more, maybe also in myself, but also in clients, and it's not that it's something new, but it's that I see it, is that so much in our brain is actually functioning on predictions, you know, and that, I think that pattern is so strong just to keep us alive. I mean, sometimes, well, a lot of times it's very useful. When you're running, your heart needs more energy, so already the brain predicts when something happens in your body, of course the energy needs to be there straight away. But so much, everything, I think, you do almost, you know, everybody knows when you fancy something food, you know, and you already see it, you know, the salivation starts, I mean, all that kind of processes, but it's on every level. And realizing that, I mean, that's kind of scaring, you know, in a certain way, but also nice to know, because then you know that you can also create these new kind of patterns for your brain, which are so much more helpful maybe at the time you're in now, or the phase in your life you're in now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And what you say is so true, is where that predictability is also a part of us, because it wants to save energy, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, driving a car, it's really great that we don't have to think about how to drive a car or a motorbike all the time, because that means that we have energy available for new learning and new growth. But the problem is that we often don't really use that surplus energy for that, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't, but I think that's probably the design of it, making it more predictable and repeating it, those habitual, like those habits, right? Because it's often a habit, but it's definitely those, you're in those loops, you stay in it, and you're actually quite stuck in it often, yeah?
Well, I think you can compare it with the placebo. Everybody knows, you know, everybody knows the placebo effect, that when you take a certain pill, people, and it's not the real stuff, people even get the side effects of headaches or whatever. Oh, yeah. I mean, so the brain makes that up only by hearing and reading, like side effects or whatever. But of course, we also know, I mean, maybe other people don't know, but the term nocebo, that you can think yourself ill or whatever, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for sharing, Marielle.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anybody else? What's landing?
Yeah, just that I really like this premise of the nervous systems. Your brain is like the meeting spot of that intelligence around available to all of us, and how that comes through the nervous system. And how we deal with stress is really determined by that tone of that part of the nervous system. I just think this is such a great foundational principle governing this whole work, you know. That's really what's landed with me. Of course, I hear that in different ways because of chiropractic, but just hearing it the way you're presenting it now, it's just nice, just a fresh, out of context kind of approach that anyone can kind of use actually without necessarily going to a chiropractor.
Yeah, and also like what I really love is that actually it becomes a structural challenge and not a personal challenge. So, you know, the structure of your nervous system, and of course, structure has integrity, and is not personal. It really isn't. It's really just the way you're wired, based on you know, when you were just really a baby and a small child, based on the experiences that you had when you did not have a conscious choice, and that wired you in a certain way. But now it, you know, it doesn't have to be like that always, and that's so hopeful that we can make those new neural pathways. And
Definitely.
and we also make it mean something, right? I mean, we might feel like, you know, why am I always you know, failing in this and that? Why can't I hold on to this or this or that? Why am I, you know, you always make it personal, but it's actually not personal. It's structural. Great, great. Anybody else wants to add to this, or shall we continue? Yeah. Okay, I'll share again. So that was the first one. Now, the second one is really, really beautiful as well. It's like healing is a process of integrating unresolved traumatic events. Now, how, you know, from, you know, and these are premises, right? These are working conditions, like we hold them for true maybe until we come up with a better one, or one that fits better, because it often fits with a certain paradigm. So they're not written in stone, they're really just, you know, paradigms that I from experience hold for true, right? So yeah, so these integrating and healing is, you know, you can say that, okay, just imagine that your child, and often of course things happen in childhood that some information comes to you in the form of something external, and of course often your caregivers are involved in that, are included in that, right? So you have some sort of information coming your way, and that doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, traumatic with a big T, can be just traumatic with a small t. But at that time, you might not, it might feel unsafe, or it might feel like, hey, you know, I don't understand this. I had that a lot. I remember as a child where I just really didn't get the adults, actually most of the time. It's like, well, I just didn't have a clue what was going on. And so, you know, at that time, like, you just can't integrate that information. And what do? Your brain just intelligently does, it kind of just stores it away, um, for a time to be integrated when the circumstances are more safe, right? And it's super intelligent and amazing. And because it just kind of stores it away in that little, you know, kitchen drawer. I sometimes call it, like, you know, we all have a kitchen drawer, right? Where we put in all our shit that we don't know what to do with at the time. And that drawer is there, and we're like, okay, what do I do with this, you know, empty battery? I don't know. I just put it in that drawer, right? You don't want to throw it away. And then, of course, at some stage, that drawer kind of gets really full and you can't really open it anymore. And then you need to clean it out. So of course, we have that too. We have that in our nervous system. We have parts stored away in our nervous system that we haven't integrated. And what happens, of course, any information that comes to you, it's first an energy, like it's got an energy, like it's something energetic, like maybe a contraction. Then often there is an emotion attached to it too, because emotions are, you know, very human, and emotions are actually designed for us to act. But imagine that at that time we can't act because we are, you know, like maybe we're, you know, frozen, or we don't know what to do. So that emotion then gets stored. Emotion is energy and motion. If it can't move at that time, which is designed to move, it often gets stored in the muscles as well. And then, of course, ultimately, so it's like a layered process, right? Energy, emotion, and then maybe a thought latches onto that. And, you know, ultimately a belief and a way of seeing things. And then there you have it. You have like, actually, you have the subluxation, right? Sublux, underlighted, what we call a subluxation, an area of you that is not consciously connected to the brain, and ultimately you get pain as well. So we want to, that's of course what we do as chiropractors, is that people come to us with pain, and often it is like a layered subluxation, and we want to send that part back home, send that part back to the brain, so you can start to function more coherently as a whole. Does that make sense? It does, right? Sometimes I even, you know, I can see it as a team. Like I can see, you know, you have a production team, right? You've got the cameraman and the actors, and you've got like, you know, makeup artists, and it's like you're all there to make this amazing film, right? This product. But if one is kind of having lunch and the other one is kind of, you know, like going to the toilet, and the other one is just, you know, looking at the shot, you know, what shall we have for dinner tonight? If everybody's kind of not there, not present, you can't really create anything. It's like, so it's the same with the body. Like if all parts of you are functioning coherently as a whole, you have like this team in your body to do the work and to change and grow. But so all parts of us eventually need to function and vibrate as a whole, and not being frozen in time. And that's also the basis of this phase. All right, so what's landing? Anybody wants to add to this premise?
I'll just add from a personal experience, I find that that is the hardest part, is integrating a trauma that you've, I think the awareness is easier to do, and being aware of it, but then knowing what that trauma is and then integrating it and accepting it, I find incredibly difficult.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes when you experience something through that trauma or through that nervous system that's not in the best state, even with the work, you can recognize it, but it's very difficult to pull yourself back from going down the way that it flows easiest, right?
Mm.
So I think that's something that I guess is a constant struggle for everybody, but I think that's the bit that is challenging for me.
Yeah, how I managed that, Bonnie, was with this work from Jyoti, was more this whole idea that it's not personal, that it's structural. It really helped me when I go on my
It does.
victim kind of self chatter. I'm just like, oh, that's that pattern again, as opposed to actually really identifying with the story or the personal circumstance. So I removed my personal stuff from it. And the more I did that and the more I practiced that, the more distance I seemed to take from the event emotionally.
Yeah.
So I was still engaged with it. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't like just writing it off. But it was more like almost watching it from a distance and watching the mechanics. And the more I just ran that mantra of like, it's not personal, it's structural, that just really helped me look at it from a different angle and different perspective.
Yeah, I think that really does help, because I think definitely before I started doing this work, it was very, very personal. So there's definitely been a big shift, but I guess my takeaway is it takes time. And that's a word that always comes up with the coaching I do with Jyoti for me is compassion. And I think it's that reminder to always be compassionate, because it isn't a quick thing that you just, oh, I know that now I'm fixed. It really is being compassionate with yourself. And I definitely notice that each time something happens, I react better, but not ideal yet. So I think there's this real journey that you've got to keep on always.
Yeah, it is funny. And it's like I always kind of picture this mountaintop, right? Where we circle, make those circles, like every time a little bit more up, as opposed to just being stuck on the bottom of the mountain where you keep circling in the same, neural pathway. It's like circling upwards and forwards. And then, of course, this is where the structural tension comes in too, Bonnie, right? Where we use that tension between the current reality and your vision. Actually, we can use it. So we include that part of you that is frozen in time. We include it in the structure. We don't, numb it, deny it, or, push it away and all of that. We really include that part of you in it. We actually need it because it has a lot of energy potential in there, like an incredible amount of energy. Sometimes I talk about the little gold mines that we have in us. Once we connect with it, that energy is released and we can use that to upgrade our, so it's really important that we include it in it. Yeah. Anybody else wants to share, or shall we continue?
Continue.
Okay. So the third one is, this is also a great one. The brain is the bridge between universal intelligence and our human experience. Our nervous system translates energy into perception, thoughts, and actions. Blockages distort this connection, limiting our ability to receive and act on life's intelligence. Now, Visma already touched upon that briefly, and within the chiropractic profession, we call that like energy or universal intelligence is flowing in from above down and then inside out. And how I translate that is that universal intelligence is really like energy. It's the field, there's different names for it. It's like it's always there, and it will always be there. It's 100% perfect. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't choose one over the other. It doesn't give more to one or the other. It gives to everybody the same, always 100%. However, how we receive this intelligence or this energy depends on how our brain is wired. So it's a bit like a hose, like a water hose. There's always the outflow is always, there. But if there is like a little, like a kink in there, that means that we have our bandwidth is smaller, and we have a limited capacity to receive this incredibly intelligent and beautiful and amazing energy source. And so it's a lot about receiving, and really, like, that is definitely for me also a real challenge, the whole receiving part, because I'm generally a better, easier for me to give than to receive. But really, it's if you're not able, if you can't receive it, it's very difficult. You have less to give too, right? So that's important to really know, like, okay, it's there. And so there's always room for growth. If we grow new neural pathways, new circuits that are able to hold more energy, more information. And it's about receiving more, becoming more, giving more, being more. and that's growth, right? That's growth and development, because that is about becoming more. And then, of course, we need a brain and a nervous system that is able to receive that. And of course, that means that we have to look at those subluxations and, you know, those parts of us that are frozen in time and that are distorting the output, right? Okay, so that is that's the third premise. And anybody wants to share what's landing?
Wat is subluxation ook again sorry, in Dutch, maybe one word.
In Dutch, it means,
Blockada.
oh
Hoe?
yeah,
Sorry?
Blockada.
Blokkade. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
ja, dus het is een beetje zo van how I see it. It's like, you know, if you look at it as a structure, and that a certain structure has an integrity, right? And a certain structure is made for something. For example, a rocking chair is made to rock, right? A brick is made to stay still. Our brain is actually made to receive intelligence and information, and our bodies are made to express that intelligence. You know, if there is like the structure is kind of, there is like a blockage there, in that structure, that means that that information is not received 100%. And that's because of the subluxation. So sublux also means underlighted areas of yourself. So areas of you that are literally not connected to your brain, because you've stored it in your little kitchen drawer, remember? When some sort of, and a really incredibly intelligent mechanism, but that kitchen drawer gets really messy and really full and kind of slows the whole thing down. Actually, it holds you back.
So meditating is really important then, actually. Toch?
Well, I would say meditating is it depends a little bit. Like, it's not great, like not, it depends what nervous system state you're in, because if you're, for example, really in like fight flight and maybe a little bit anxious, then meditating might not be the best solution. Or if you're, for example, in dorsal vagal, where it's you're really like you know, quite like almost like depressed, then maybe also meditating might not be really ideal, because maybe you just then fall asleep. So maybe you need a bit more like action, like shaking, or like, you know, being active, like walking in nature, grounding. So it's, I wouldn't say it's always like a one size fits all solution. Yeah.
But
Anybody
Jyoti,
else wants to share, or shall we? Oh,
I have a question.
yeah.
About meditating. I don't know if Simone meant if that helps you to get rid of subluxations, but maybe it only gives you insights, the meditation. But I don't, do you think that, Jyoti, that meditation could resolve subluxations? I don't know if Simone meant that. I don't know.
Is that what you meant, Simona?
Well, I meant it very light. I mean, I didn't know the word subluxation, but blockade is, I mean, that's it for me. And yeah, meditating. And I like it what you said about some people it's better for some people to not meditate and being active, for example. I mean, that's for me something, I think. And then I was wondering what chiropractic does with the blockade, and if it's enough for people to get rid of the subluxation without coaching or other therapy or whatever.
Well, that's actually a great question because that's the whole reason that I started this
Ja,
this
af en
work
toe hoor ik
actually.
je slecht.
For me, it wasn't enough.
Sometimes
Can't hear
the
you,
sound
Jyoti.
Oh,
goes
for
bad.
me personally, it wasn't enough. Like I had like chiropractic for, I don't know, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So in my
You
case,
just didn't have a good chiropractor, Jyoti. Or Simone, I adjusted you for 15 years too, Simona. Jesus, this is a failed
What?
effort here, guys.
Sorry?
I adjusted you, I think, every month for 15 years, Simona. I think we've got a failed chiropractor here.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
chiropractic gave me everything
Yeah.
more. Like I can't even I can't even
Mm.
begin to explain what chiropractic. It literally saved my life, chiropractic, in many, 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 many different ways.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
really
true. Like,
get
I
it.
mean,
However,
Simona, we see people like all the time. I've probably never seen so much more anxiety as now, ever in a
Yeah.
28-year career. But
Yeah.
it's like if you undergo chiropractic passively, I believe it's just got way less effect than proactively working on your mind and your self-dialogue and this adjust your mind stuff. Like the people that I see working with Jyoti's work, they just accelerate the
Yeah.
process, I believe.
yeah,
I don't know exactly why or how or something, but I definitely see just a lot more flow in their bodies. And so I think chiropractic alone, I don't think that solves all the problems of the world. And I certainly don't want to get dogmatic about that that's the only way or something. It certainly
No,
helps
no,
release a lot of blockages in the body so that that intelligence can flow through the body. But then if you've got all these childhood traumas like we do have, and one of us have got it more than the other, and then like
yeah.
Bonnie said, we struggle to integrate that, then I believe the adjustment's just not enough. You've got to work on that integration. And, I've had
Yeah.
chiropractic forever, like, gosh, man, 50 years I've had it for, and I've still got all my, childhood traumas with a little T, I must say. But they still, it's amazing how deeply ingrained that
Mm.
negative self chatter can get to me sometimes. So this work's
Mhm.
just helped me with that. So I think
Yeah.
it's like a combination, Simona. Just this without the
yeah,
body work, I don't know. Just body work
Yeah.
without this. I think
yeah,
Yeah. I asked it. It was landing to me that it's also the same with acupuncture, of course. I mean, sometimes blockades doesn't go away, and then I mean,
Mm,
then you need more. It's
yeah.
mm.
really simple, but it's like, okay, that was
Hey,
it.
ladies, I've actually got to go. I'm so sorry to leave this call prematurely,
Okay.
but I will see you on the B side. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jyoti.
Thanks for your input, Visma. It really
Yeah, I'll
helped.
see you,
Bye.
Mariana. Bye, Simona. Bye,
Bye.
Bonnie.
Hey,
Bye.
I
Nice to
was
see you.
So yeah, what I want to add to that is in my experience. So for me, what chiropractic gave me is deeply connecting with myself and others. Like I realized that, sometimes I say I always looked at life as standing on the sideline watching the game of life because I was too afraid to join in. And what chiropractic gave me was that I actually found myself playing the game of life. And that was quite an instant change for me. And that was because of chiropractic, I'm 100% sure. And, you know, things like being able to look people in the eye and really connecting with others. And so there was so much that I received from chiropractic, and even, you know, many like awakening experiences, and, you know, many things. But what I was missing was the action part. So here I was being completely blissed out and actually feeling quite happy, I would say, quite content, but I wasn't really doing anything with it. So that was my chiropractic gave me that connection with self and others and deepened that. But, you know, the ability to receive universal intelligence, maybe a bit more, but I was still not able to act on it. That was missing for me. And that's why I needed more, like just a kind of a map almost, right? Like a roadmap. Like I needed a bit of a roadmap to know how to get from A till B.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that has to do a lot with, like, you know, what are the choices? Where do you want to go? Where are you now? And where do you want to go? What's your current reality? What's your vision? And how are we setting up that structural tension between the two? And in order for tension to resolve along the higher path, energy or tension, right? Whatever you receive, you want that energy to flow along the higher path, not the lower path. And that's what this framework aims to do. Because I was really missing that. Like I really was needing that myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So so the next one is that our beliefs create our reality. And the premise that our nervous system is foundational to how we perceive life, how we behave, how we respond to life. And if our external reality does not match our, you know, what we really love to do, there are probably some unconscious beliefs running the show. Right? So if there is, if you feel that your external reality is not coherent with what you love, so maybe there is a longing, or maybe there is something that you miss, or that means that there's still like a belief, an unconscious belief that is foundational to that. And this ties in with one premise that I really love, and it's called the motivational mechanism. And that means that we all move towards what we believe is of greatest benefit to us. And all humans do that. So if our reality is not in line with what we love, there must be a belief that believes that it's beneficial to you for some reason. And of course, the next question is it true? And of course, most of the time it's not true, but we still believe it. So we want to, and they're really tricky to uncover, those ones, because they're there to keep you safe and to protect you, right? And that's why they're so difficult to uncover. But we want to, with this work, we really want to uncover them.
So how do you get rid of them?
Well, I believe that self-awareness, of course, is the first, is important. So becoming aware, seeing it like the actual, so sub-lux means under lighted. Lux means light. It's like, what is it? A Greek or Latin word, maybe? lux is light, but and sub is under. So it's all really unconscious. So you want to bring it to the light actually. And you just want to kind of bring that what is unconscious to the light. So it's like, you know, your shadow. And then and then you can just look at that. And what I like, you know, so this motivational mechanism is from actually Dali came with it. Our daughter. It's called Bashar. He's a guy. He's on YouTube. I'm not sure how
Yeah,
to
I know.
spell his name. Have you heard of Bashar? He's like, I think he channels information. And I find him really accurate. And he came up with this motivational mechanism concept. And what he says, and I love it, and he has a bit of he has a slight Indian, how do you say, an accent, and he says, once you see it, you drop it like a hot potato. So I like that. Like, I like it. Once you see it, you go, oh, what have I been doing? Oh my God, what have I been doing? So you want to see it first before you can drop it like a hot potato. And yeah, that's it. You just wanna, I think once you see it, you go like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I call it the trickster, actually. That I find the trickster a really good word, because it's so double. Like, it's okay. So when I started to uncover some of my own beliefs, I realized that you believe that you do something to keep you safe, but what actually happens, you actually don't get that, for once. But the second one is you get the opposite of it. So I don't know if I can give an example now. Okay, so maybe like there is a belief that you know, connecting with other people is you know, unsafe. Let's say that, right? So that maybe you've been hurt as a child, or you know, that you've had some experiences where connecting with your caregivers was maybe not safe, so you start to not want to connect. But then that's the belief, but then of course you actually want that, because often you also want the opposite of what you like, because that's what your heart is longing for, right? Often your vision is based on your void, on something that you've missed growing up. So what, here you are longing for love and connection, but believing that it's not safe. And then first of all, you're not getting what you want. But second, you're actually getting often the opposite of it too. So here you are, okay, you're not connecting and you're really safe, but you're also then, you know, being really lonely, or all of that, right? So it's always, it's kind of a double whammy, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is it, maybe somebody else can give an example of like an unconscious, is there like somebody has a belief that they have uncovered, maybe? Often it is based on something that you love and you're longing for. So if there's something that you're longing, for example, with me, I'm really longing for you know, to really share. Actually, one of the things I'm longing for is that I'm able to stand in my power and show my power. But that was because I never had that as a kid. Like, I felt always a little disempowered, if that makes sense. And because there's a belief that when I'm powerful, people don't like me. That was something that I kind of made up as a kid, unconsciously. Like, when I'm powerful, people don't like me. But what do I want? I actually do want to, you know, share my step into my inner power and be powerful, right? Be like a strong, like a certain, a person that is that feels empowered, right? But it's really difficult to explain. But anyway, then so that belief, that unconscious belief, if it's unconscious, it actually drives the it drives the car. Actually, it keeps me small. So for me, not being powerful was actually really safe.
But also your brain actively is looking for proof that when you're powerful, that actually people don't like you. So unconsciously, your brain is also topping up on it.
Exactly. Because I remember as a kid, or as a young adult, people really didn't like it. So I started to learn, like, okay, it's better to become a people pleaser, for example, and to think about others and not think about myself. So I started to forget about myself, and I started to, actually not be powerful anymore.
Yeah, your brain's confirming it all the time that that's good, Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
and to add to what Mariella is saying, not only your brain, your actual body, at least for me, similar to Jyoti, I share similar kind of, mine's maybe more of like not being enough. And the moment that and so I'm very aware of it, and I notice when it creeps in, and I'll stop myself from doing certain things to put myself out there, put my work out there. I can find many excuses just crop up, like miraculously things just block me in the way. And to the point that at some point, eventually my body gets, when I start denying it and not slowly working through it and taking some action, I get sick. So my body just like it always, and it's usually the same thing. I always get a really sore throat. I get strep throat straight away. So, and it seems like the more people I talk to, everyone has their thing, and their body gives them that signal, that red flag, that they denying it, or they're technically not feeling safe in their body.
Yeah, exactly. So you have, say, a belief of not enough, and there must be that must serve you somehow, right? You must perceive some sort of benefit from that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That if you have like if you have not enough, maybe other people don't perceive you as a threat, or you kind of put yourself maybe a bit under people, or I don't know what kind of benefit. There must be some sort of benefit there that you perceive of not enough,
Mm.
Do you
right?
know the benefit?
I think
Sorry.
the benefit probably comes from I had like a sibling that used to tease me a lot, so probably a lot in my family quite is it like they tease as a way of showing love. So I think it could also, it's a case of like you won't be ridiculed if you stay in your line. Like if you don't put yourself out there, nobody can ridicule you. You're safe.
Yeah,
And you're
right.
accepted because you don't have an opinion. So it's easy to be at a dinner party, and if you have an opinion that's contrasting, to not say it, because then you're just neutral. You're not getting involved in a position where somebody might not like you, or I think it kind of can go in all directions, maybe a bit of the people pleasing.
Keep
So
you
I think
small, right?
yes, for sure.
You
So I think
small.
they all feed into each other on some level.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the not enough is actually, there is a lack there, and that's
Yes.
actually keeping you small as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the benefit, because small is safe.
Yeah.
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 Of course,
Okay.
what do you want? You want to actually, become more and be more and able to give more to others, right? As well.
Yeah.
So that's then the void or the vision that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like it's really great that we have it, because it did keep us safe. In the for a while it did, but now we can choose. Now we can choose, like, okay, is it actually still true? Or can I create safety in my nervous system by regulating it? Can I create that safety for myself in my nervous system, as opposed to it being from a belief or from a story, actually, right? Because you're not getting what you want, because the belief never gives you really what you want, because you want the opposite, right? You want always, and so it's kind of working against your vision and what you love.
Do you know, Jyoti, that when you stick up your thumb, that also
Yeah.
emoticon is coming in the.
Oh,
When you stick up your thumb, I don't know if it's with me now as well. Then
oh,
There, can you see it on yours?
Yeah.
no, I can see it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
You
yes,
get like a
I can.
bubble.
No document.
It's so
I wonder what, maybe if you click on it, something happens. I don't know.
Well, it's actually already 5 o'clock, so I think what we'll do is we'll just round it off, and it's of course we haven't kind of gone through them all yet. Let's see, how many do we have? Okay. Yeah, we can maybe, do we have 5 more minutes? Because there's one,
Yeah.
I really like this one too. Okay, so the beliefs, yeah, very, very, very important part of the work. Stress is not the problem, but our ability to integrate it. So stress is this word, right? This kind of buzzword where everything is, stressful, and stress is really bad. And we have, of course, in a chiropractic, we have chemical stress, emotional stress, physical stress. We have all these sorts of stress as well. But stress, really, if you think of it, stress in and of itself is not like a bad thing, because it also really helps us, challenges us, it helps us grow, it helps us change. But really, if we can't integrate it, if we can't, like, so stress is, you can also see as information that comes your way through like an external event. And you have internal stress too, of course, in our body, like emotions and thoughts creating stress as well. So it's in and out, but there is some sort of stress. But if we're not able to integrate it, then it becomes an issue, actually, because we're not able to process, to integrate it and adapt to it. And resilience comes from learning to respond effectively and not resisting it. And because stress is really information that we can use to grow and learn new things. And like, I sometimes have to think of a bone, like when a bone is, I think when you have a fracture in your bone, the actual, you need that stress for it to grow stronger, for it to heal. And yeah, this is also opens up like the whole process of healing and learning, is like, there is some contraction and then expansion, and then you contract a bit more and you expand, right? It's like this natural, it's almost like a breathing, that we step by step are able to handle more stress and increase our bandwidth. So if our bandwidth is small, then with every stress we encounter, we kind of shut down, right? To protect. We go into protection. But if our bandwidth is a little bit bigger, we're able to, handle this stress and respond to it and learn from it. And ultimately, that's what we want, because we want to grow and develop, right? Anybody else wants to comment on this? Or are we good? Okay. And then the last one, of course, like, I love how we work with nature's natural rhythms, because we are all part of nature. And our chiropractic profession is also based on natural principles and timeless principles. And if we look at transformation, growth is not linear. It goes through expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. It's like this natural movement of, and it's, once you know it, like now I know that, okay, when I've been through a period of growth, I'm going to go through a period of contraction, and life sucks a little bit, and maybe I get, like I get a little bit of resistance happening, and it's all not so great. But now I know, like, okay, we're just going through a little bit of a contraction now, and that's fine, because that's, after that comes a bit more expansion again. So I'm okay with it now. I'm like, okay, this is just my body, like integrating, digesting. And there's a part of me that I always say, there's a part of me that sits on this white horse that just wants to go, and it gallops, and it goes like, it's like this stallion, and it just wants to run. And then there's this other part of me that just goes like, oh, hang on, this goes too quick, and it kind of, it just stops, and I fall off. And so it's, with me, like slowly and steady wins the race. Like I need to pace myself and learn how to pace myself and take little steps, just little steps, like really gentle and slowly and not too quick. Right? Okay, so anybody else wants to share before we hop off?
Nope.
Are we all good?
Good.
Are we all good? Great. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everybody, for joining. And we have this Sunday, I think it is, we have like a practice session, and I want to start, and I hope, Bonnie, you can join too. I really want to start working a little bit more with circles. You know how we did that, the intuition circles, where we start to really step into and help each other, because that's so great with this work, is that we can help each other and practice on each other, where we start to read each other and share what is obvious, what we see, using our own inner technology as a radar, almost like, hey, what are we picking up about the other, and what is obvious? Because it's, those things like limiting beliefs and subluxations are so much easier for another person to see than yourself. So we really need each other, actually, to, in a real loving and safe way, to share like what is obvious, and also even just speaking out. Like I find that really challenging in the beginning, because I pick up so much information, but then the next step is really sharing it with somebody, like, because me being that, people pleaser, I find it really difficult to share like what is, what is obvious for me. But it's also really important, because you really be of service to another person if you share what is hidden for the other person, right? So yeah, we're going to do that on Sunday.
And you changed the time, I saw.
Did I?
Oh,
Yeah,
what time?
now it says 10 instead of 9. So just checking if that's correct.
Oh, maybe
Then
it's because it's daylight savings.
Oh yeah, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
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 Good.
So
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock for us. If you just don't forget to put the clock an hour forward.
All right.
I think with school it changes automatically the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So probably it's that's the reason. Yeah.
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 Let me stop the recording for now.